those of you online, we would love to hear your experience, because you had something very new, which was doing 3D online with a
3D on
Jamboard.
1D.
So I'm sure you're innovators. So yeah, everyone grab the mic, literally or figuratively, and again, it is always in the spirit of co-learning.
It's quite good also because I realized in the Google Drive that Katrina prepared, there's a lot of icons and all that. And also Google, we can also go to Google search to search for a photograph or whatever that we need. So in my group, everybody got the hang of it very, very quickly. Placing all the symbols, go to the next sequence and all that. No problem lah. Very nice. I think it's not difficult. It's not difficult.
I think I like the part where, because we're doing this in a group and especially with like colleagues, so we more or less know what we are trying to do. And there are some people with certain perks like getting it organized. So some people will help by looking for the icon. So there's like synergy. Yeah. So that's very, very good to work together, that feeling.
So Cynthia, you always use mahjong paper for so many years, mahjong paper flipping. I think this is something that can replace mahjong paper online. And it has all the text, the color, even pictures and all that. So I think this is very useful, probably I would say more useful than mahjong paper, if I can say that, because I can even save it on PDF and all that. So it's really cool. Like, for example, sometimes we use mahjong paper in the workshop. We are the one who is doing all the writing, can do the writing. Everybody can write. So it's more, everybody will be attached to the production of that thing. Yeah, rather than one person just in charge of the mahjong paper.
And I think it makes a big difference to be able to move the things around instead of like on the mahjong paper. When you write something, you don't get to move it around like a chess piece. So just now, I kind of feel like I'm like strategy, like you are playing a chess. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
And once we finish the rough work, Vivian can even beautify it and adjust it again nicely before we save it in PDF.
Oh, say. So that one can go on the FSI website, right? As a module, your session.
Can.
I'm distracted by Siana keep changing. Got pirate lah, got mustache lah. Okay, CSPO team is back. Great. All right, how was it? So how was it? Anyone else?
Yeah. I'm very excited. I would love to see the online one also. So for me, the experience was very good. I mean, we have done this kind of activities before, but it was something that, I do not know. We decided to focus. First of all, before we started, we said, okay, where shall we focus? Because we had different interests. So in the end, we said, oh, we'll take Sigama. It's a new area because maybe from there, me and Ilan can learn more about the area. But I think we were happy. I mean, our group was good, but because there was Ilan, our artist. She can do many things, but it helped us to look deeper into the area, even though we have not even done the baseline. We have some knowledge like me. I know Sigama is one of the cradle of civilization in Sabah because it's one of the big rivers. And we actually, the highlight of the KDCA, every year we have Kamatan, the Pinampang, the Kadazan, the Tambunan. We have never even heard of the Dusun who lived there long time ago. They are the earliest civilization. So we were able to kind of discuss and got excited about, there must be the history there in the caves, because there's caves there. And how they were connected with the people, because this Sigama is a big river and it opens into the sea. So we had, like, it was a long conversation. We have lots of questions, a lot of stories. So at least, even though I didn't go to this area, I can imagine this mining, and also that oil palm. And I cannot imagine that this community who live near the river don't even have access to clean water. So I think that our discussion in the group was, for me, very, very deep lah. A lot of new revelation, and we can think of new things for the women, for the children, education, history, so many things. So great to be involved in that activity.
Saya ini baru pertama kali saya buat ini activity 3D ini. And then apa yang saya dapat melalui activity ini, dia boleh memecahkan, kalau kita brainstorming kan, dia boleh kasih pecah otak kita sampai kita boleh imagine, saya sampai boleh imagine 5 tahun akan datang, di mana landscape di kampung ini sangat cantik, dan aktiviti dahulu kala muncul kembali. Kami punya mapping ini berkenaan dengan padi, sawah padi. Ya, jadi bila kami buat ini activity, saya terimagine di mana satu masa nanti kehidupan di dalam kampung tersebut sangat harmoni, dan hubungan antara kampung dengan kampung sekitar pun sangat harmoni. Kesehatan kembali seperti dulu kala, seperti apa yang terjadi saat ini. Kampung saya sendiri 90% penduduk dia semua berpenyakitan kronik. Saya tidak tahu apa punca ya, mungkin akibat daripada yang seperti Dr. Nick cakap tuh. Jadi dalam aktiviti tadi kami sudah sampai ke arah itu, ke arah memperbaiki sistem pemakanan, sistem hubungan antara masyarakat kampung, dan sistem ekologi di kampung itu. Dan sangat bermakna lah ini aktiviti. Dan saya akan coba bawa aktiviti ini kepada orang kampung untuk dorang buka minda, untuk mereka sedar apa tujuannya program ini dijalankan. Nah, itu sajalah.
Discussing about the area, if we just present this is the area, begitu PowerPoint begitu kan, it might not be that participatory lah. So the process itself, where we creatively put and decide the colors and what you call indicators of the area, and then to ask whether this, when we are not so sure, and then there's an opinion, and then we presented it together. It was so good. And then after that, we have the guide question of the 4 corners. It's also, I think, very inspiring, because now, before we continue our work in that area, we already have these questions that we can bring to ourselves and to the community lah. So I find, although macam we have already done this 3D modeling, but I think every context and every process is different. So the outcome is very refreshing for me lah. Usually when you go into a discussion and present, and if you are the presenter, you get asked with so many questions, and of course, especially when you're just beginning to know the area, you will be like on the spot, kan? But this one is like, okay, and then it's not really squeezing you, but it's actually a generative discussion. So I think it's really, to me, an experience that we can use, yeah, affirm that we can use this process to actually really open up a conversation. Terima kasih.
I think my colleague they forgot to show, but I have kept a copy. Nah, ini dia.
Oh.
Okay, ini dia. So inilah kami punya tim food security lah. So
Start dengan cari simbol dari setiap satu dari kami tentang apa yang kami rasa, about what we feel about food security. So I put burger, and then Casey put the paddy at the bottom right corner that you can see the model project, and then si Najib, he put the people, the colorful people, and then Ryan, he put money. And then we did another route to put additional graphic to put ourselves into the picture, the ecology. So that's when things started to get interesting, because kan initially when we put the symbol kan it's very linear. Letak 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 begitu saja. And then when we put ourselves into the picture, that's when the arrow started coming in. And that's when we like terus kasih gerak, and then we told ourselves, okay, let's put ourselves and then connect with another symbol that we feel connected to lah. So it's a bit different lah dengan 3D modeling yang physical. Yeah, we gotta like strategize sikit. So I think our discussion, it's really like chill and just straightforward. And I also think kenapa the workshop for the past 3 days terus bikin kami lupa pasal duit. Like sebab kan ini food security kan, okay, kami cakap pasal duit lah, semua faktor-faktor yang pasal food security, GMO, healthy food. Iman. Lepas itu kan bila kami with the last question kan, to think about the future kan, we were like, let's look at Tengilan Padi project. The spirit was just sharing, was just sharing, and then having their own food, no money, and then you have food security. It's as simple as that. And then we were like, imagine kalau kita boleh kopi. Imagine kalau the spirit of sharing kena spread towards all over Sabah. That's it lah. And then we were like, okay, maybe the future is Tengilan as this pilot inspiring model that can inspire other communities di Sabah. Tapi kalau landscape dorang tidak ngam padi, never mind, they can plant other crops. Tapi dorang boleh guna the spirit that the Tengilan Padi project had. So that's that's basically it, I think. Ada mau tambah kah yang lain?
And all good things come to an end. Let's get some closure together. Usually when a group comes together for a purpose and then you have a rich experience, the death of that gathering can actually be more sad than we think it is. And there always needs to be closure and a little bit of mourning, and then sort of a death and then a rebirth. So that's usually the purpose of closure. I also wanted for the closure to be an opening for the next thing. I think you're getting a sense of what a mountaintop session is and why we called it a mountaintop session. And then you will, from there, you get a sense of why the next new moon is a valley immersion. So this was the thinking, the dreaming, the talking, the reflecting, really the opportunity to take time out together to think about these things, to explore these things. We don't usually get that time. So, you know, thanks for making the time to do this. And of course, you can't do it alone. It is something to be done together.
I came here with a full basket that's also a burden, that basket that Nick's talking about. And I realized kind of on hindsight that I wasn't expecting the joy to unload that basket here with all of you. But at the same time, I feel like all this stuff that burns up inside of me, it in a way burns because I'm not sharing it. And I realize part of my problem is that I keep it to myself too much. And the process of sharing is really liberating. But I'm going back with another full basket that all of you have given through this process. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that. Like really, it's like, it's not a burden. It's a different energy that I really appreciate. And I like the word tangible. I know it. Like you can feel it, like it's real, right? So I have this full basket that I'm going to feed off for quite some time. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for letting me unburden and also for filling as well. And I just want to say just to all of you how much I appreciate that and how much I'm impressed by your tech team. And that Zoom is this session on another level also shows something else, which is how much we can connect across Sabah with different people using this format. So having everyone that's on this screen, the Zoom, makes it feel like this other kind of bigness that is not in this beautiful setting alone, but that it's much bigger than that. And having all your faces there really makes that feel tangible and real and touchable as well. But I just want to say thank you. I know how much I appreciate it. And it means a lot. Yeah.
Hi. First of all, I want to thank Cynthia for inviting us. Actually, she posted in our board WhatsApp group. Then I was thinking, then I look at the title. Wow, I said, I'm quite busy, but I think I want to go for this one. And that was just in my mind. But I'm grateful because she extended to she said to the partners of FS. So Yogi was the one who go and persuade Nasiri and Gordon to come, a few of us, but two of them came and I think it's a new experience for them. They said they liked the session. But for me personally, it's really good because these topics that has been discussed is something that I'm very interested. I've always been interested in circular economy and especially the thing about education, about Nicholas, what he's talking about. So I thought, wow, what I didn't expect to study the sejarah. I think that has a lasting impression on me when we did the history. And after that, to think about how is it in our situation. So thank you for everyone, because actually, as Cynthia was saying, it's a learning. It's not just about yourself and listening to others, but among ourselves, our interaction. Memang kita punya bakul pun penuh lah. We always have this session whenever we have a gathering called Suangay na Barait ko, dia bilang. Fill in my bag. And so saya punya bag pun penuh sudah ini, which I think it will be very good for me. Thank you for everyone and people on there in the online.
This is really good. I feel very, very happy and very passionate and very excited about what has become possible here with the timing of everything, the new rice coming into this, with all the obstacles. Somehow we made it work. I mean, I say I didn't do anything for this. But to see how it worked, to have you guys with us on Zoom, to have Nick, who Cynthia says, he's somebody that I worked with in many years ago, and we met him together about 5 or 6 years ago, I think, and had been dreaming of one day that he could come here, but then he didn't come here, but yet he came here. This space that was finished a year ago by, the seed students and the architect camp and so on. We thought of it only as a very physical space for learning. We had no idea then that it was going to be a space for virtual connection as well as physical learning. And it worked very well, didn't it? And somehow or another, between Cynthia and Katrina and Casimir and goodness knows who else, they managed to get internet in here a few days ago, and it worked. It worked. And I'm really, really grateful that those of you who could came. It was beautiful to have you with us and to eat together with you and to feel that. And I'm really grateful that those of you on Zoom were with us too, and you were playing and having fun with us and each other. And of course I want to see you in person, but I didn't feel you too far away. And I think for me, I've always been most passionate about the importance of the freedom of knowing, the importance of the freedom of knowing. When I was a teenager, the struggle for Southern Africa was in full force. And I was very influenced by a man called Steve Biko, who was a Black South African leader who was killed. But he wrote a book when he was still a very young man, beautiful book. And in that book, he said, the greatest weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And he wrote about his own struggle in the 1970s to free himself from that. And it had a huge impact on me, and that we could do a session like this and we could be freed in two completely different ways. We were freed by what you said, Ilan, it was beautiful how you brought in your facts or whatever, but you freed us by not landing with a plain load of facts. You freed us by coming from all directions. And then there's something about Nick Farraklas's tireless ability to, rigidly make everything open. And then, every time you chime, I've been, as you said, I've been basically sitting, listening. Every time you guys chime in, you chime in with something that could never be imagined. And it's so beautiful and makes my heart really happy. So thank you for everybody. And then we haven't mentioned the IT team. What has made this possible in this space is how you guys have been crazily relentless. I think for 3 or 4 nights during the night, your arms will be like this under the blankets. So anyway, how beautiful it is to work with people like all of you. So, and thank you, Cynthia, for holding the vision of this thing and bringing it to this point.
Nothing is simple, nothing is not complex today. To embrace complexity is to be real. And complexity is where FS's work is. That's being in the trenches. And that's really being in the moments where change will happen and can happen. On that note, thank you. Return well to your places. If you want to stay on, boleh juga. Stand up, stand up. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh! Whoosh! Whoosh!